Yeah. So what? It's your boy, BitznBobz. Yes, people, how we doing? International week, so we're twisting it up just a little bit. I got a special guest with me. Unfortunately, she supports a certain football club, but we won't judge her by that. Jan, what we saying? How are you?
Yeah, I'm fine, thanks.
Guys, look, both our clubs. Jan's a Man City fan, I'm a Man United fan. Both our clubs are not playing during the international week, so we both decided and thought it'd be nice to raise some awareness on racism and discrimination, and especially because we're both black, and we're both from different communities. I'm from the African community, and Jan, I believe you're from the Caribbean community, yeah?
Yeah.
Yeah, so there you go. So a nice little mix there. We're both tropical, safe to say, guys. So Jan, talk to me. Who are you? What do you do? And yeah, talk to me. Where are you from? What do you identify as?
My name's Yannicka. I'm mixed race. My mum's white, dad's Jamaican. I'm from Manchester area, but I grew up more in Cheshire. So yeah, I work as a residential care worker in a children's home with teenage boys. Most of them are black. We do get the odd white child, but because the home is a black company, we tend to get a lot of black kids. So yeah, to deal with them.
So talk to me, your views on racism, and obviously with you're doing YouTube now, and also your time in Cheshire and stuff. Talk to me, like, what's it like? What's your views on it?
Well, it's interesting because I was probably racially abused before I knew what racism was. Because I grew up in a very white middle class area. There wasn't really any black people apart from my family. Like, I have cousins that lived in the same sort of area.
Got you.
Yeah, so when I started primary school, I didn't really notice it at first, but my sister, I think my dad attended like a parents' evening, and my dad's very light skinned, so it's crazy because they even from him just going to that meeting.
Yeah.
Next day, my sister, they were calling her Camilla Black. So it's like even from him just going to the school once, that's kind of when it started.
Which is quite sad, isn't it?
Yeah, my sister's got a lot of comments because their nose is wider than mine, their lips were bigger than mine. They used to get a lot of comments. I used to get teased about my hair. My hair never really used to be like this. So yeah, just all of that kind of side of it. And then when I went to high school, it got worse. There was a lot of racism, but it was more covert than overt. It was kind of like, jokes, comments, like stereotypical things like, oh, did dad smoke weed? They used to make comments that kind of came through. So on the surface, they don't look racist, but actually, if you think about it, they were. So they used to say things like, they used to call me a gangster, right? Which doesn't sound that bad, but what it meant to them was basically the M-word. But because they knew they couldn't say the M-word, they used to say that instead. So
it's casual racism, isn't it? At the end of the day,
that sort of thing.
Yeah, and do you know what? It's quite sad, isn't it? When you think about that, because you're just trying to go to school, right? Just trying to go to school, make friends, come home, be peaceful and stuff. Yeah, for some reason, because of the color of your skin, because of some of your features, you're treated differently. It's quite sad, and it's annoying and frustrating and very tiring.
Yeah,
because we're around the same age, and we're still getting the same problems. We're still getting the same problems, and not just obviously ourselves, but everyone, especially footballers, the black footballers. And I want to quickly segue onto that. But before I quickly segue onto that, I just want to ask you a question. How did you cope mentally with all of that?
To be honest, one sec. Oh my God, sorry.
You okay?
Yeah, sorry.
No, that's all right.
Yeah, no, my nose is like keeps running. Yeah, no, I think mentally at first, like it didn't I didn't think that it affected me, but it's interesting now because when I speak to my dad, he actually said that I used to come home from primary school, apparently crying that I wanted to be white, because obviously all my friends were white.
Yeah.
So it's interesting because as a kid, like I never thought it affected me, but then now when I hear stories like that, I'm thinking, well, maybe it did. I used to, when I was in high school, I used to relax my hair a lot, you know, because I wanted straight hair, like yeah. So stuff like that. So now, like the texture of my hair is probably not what it should be, but just because obviously the bullying, basically. So yeah, I think it's a little bit of like colorism in there, you know, like what is attractive in terms of hair and stuff. In my school, it was always sort of blonde girls, you know. So I think it does affect you in terms of mental health. I was quite a strong person when I was a teenager. So I used to, like, people kind of tried to bully me, I would just basically give it back to them. So
good.
Yeah, I think it's more my self-esteem was definitely affected by it. You know, in my school, if you weren't white, you weren't attractive. Like we had the most beautiful girl in my year. She's beautiful, and nobody found her attractive. But really, she was the most attractive person in our year by far. But things like that. So yeah, I think it's not as much my mental health as in, you know, how I feel, but in terms of self-esteem more, I would say it affected.
And do you know what? That's the reason I'm asking that, because you know, our communities we're proud, you know, we're pride, you know, we never want to show weakness, you know, so to come out and say something bothers you doesn't happen, you know, and from a male's perspective, you don't want to be seen as emotional, you don't want us to be seen as weak. So I can only sympathize and, you know, stand with you in solidarity, because as a woman or a young girl at the time, you know, what do you do? Do you know? So like, I know I'm with you, and it's a testament to you because you give it back, and it's a testament to you, to who you've become and what you do, and you should be proud of yourself, 100%. Because, you know, I'm going to touch on it. Obviously, Kamala Harris, the Vice President of America, and you know, people say, "Oh, it doesn't affect us," blah blah. It does. Don't care what anyone says. Do your homework. Do your research. It. Whatever happens across the pond does affect us.
Yeah.
And you know, the fact is that I was saying to people, you know, obviously she's the vice president. She's the first female ever. But it's not even the fact that who she is, and that it's the fact that there's a woman and a woman of color, you know, and you know, a black woman. I'm not even going to say the woman, a black woman, you know. So on so many levels, female for the women, and obviously for our community, for the black community, it's just like, it's probably the best news 2020 has given us. Well, the best news coming out of America, anyway. You know, and like, you know, for you as a woman, how does that make you feel when you see that? Because she did say, she said something that was very touching. I may be the first woman, but I won't be the last. You know, so for you, what does that mean to you when you hear that?
I think it's interesting on Kamala Harris, because what a lot of people are doing is they're looking at her as a person and saying, "Oh, I don't like her because she's done this and she's done that." But the thing is, any history like that is good history, regardless of who they are. So the fact that a woman's come in now, okay, she might not be the best person, you know, you might not particularly like her, but she's opened that door for someone that is a good person, or, you know, to be a president or to be a vice president, you're probably not going to be the best, you know, person, because to get into that sort of job, you probably have to be a little bit.
Well, look who is the current president. I say no more.
Like people always say when you come to elections, well, you know, he's a bad person, but it's like, yeah, but the other person's a bad person too. There's never really been, I think Obama was a good person on the surface,
but people still didn't like him.
Yeah, when he was in power, he did a lot of stuff that people don't agree with. So even him, who on the surface was very nice, still did things that people didn't agree with. So I think you're always going to have that. But I think just her being a woman, is one thing, and the fact that she's not a white woman as well, it makes it even bigger. But I just think it means, you know, little girls, because when you're growing up, you have a perception of things. Like I always kind of compare it to like Meghan Markle. Like when I was growing up, I remember people used to say things like, "Oh, Harry fancies Beyonce," you know, like making jokes, and I was like, "Yeah, but he's not going to marry a black woman," and that's my thing. You would never be allowed to marry Beyonce because she's black. And then it's interesting that he met Meghan and they actually got married. And I know she's light-skinned, you know, mixed race. I know that. But at the same time, even that, as a kid growing up, I would have never thought that we would see him marry a mixed race girl. Like I would have never thought that. So that sort of progression is always positive, regardless of who the person is.
100%, 100%. So let's segue into it, okay? There has been a few comments in the media, okay? We won't have to digress on that, but Greg Clark's comments. I think negativity, we don't entertain it. I don't think anyone in the UK was really shocked with his comments. I think we were just more shocked how casually he just said it and didn't think it was a big thing, you know? I'm just going to ask you, what's your thoughts on his comments?
To be honest, I'm not actually surprised. I just think a lot of people, it's almost like, I don't know whether it's because the workplace is not diverse and people think they can say certain things because when
because it isn't diverse. That's why they
so they say things like that in the office and nobody bats an eyelid. But obviously when you come out in public, it's a different thing. Do you know what I mean? Like I've always said, I know it's going a bit off subject, but I've always said with Bernardo Silva's thing, what he posted in regards to Mendy, if he posts that in the WhatsApp group for Man City, not much happens. You might get someone saying, "Oh, that's a bit harsh" or whatever, but who's really going to comment? But when you bring that opinion or that view or that picture or whatever you post in to social media, you make it a society thing. You make it other people's problems. So as much as people saying it was a private joke between friends, if it was a private joke between friends, it wouldn't have been posted to a social media account where he has millions of followers. So
I just want to stop you there, Jan. Do you know what? We say it's a private joke, right? We need to emphasize and put this on full volume. It is not a joke. Like ha ha ha, LOL, LMFAO, emoji. If you are making fun of someone's skin color, how they look, their hair features, their facial features, anything derogative is not a joke.
Exactly.
You know, no. Like I hear what you're saying, but I'm just saying that like when people say, "Oh, it's a joke," no, it's not.
No.
That's not something we crack jokes about. What do you do? You know what I mean? So just like carry on, but I just wanted to emphasize that because being able to talk like that and say, "Oh, it's just a joke," it's not a joke because it's derogative. It can hurt people's feelings. You know, we can go into about when people say, "Oh, women should be in the kitchen." That's not a joke, mate. That's a sexist comment. Do you know what I mean? So so sorry. Carry on, please. Carry on.
No, so I think because that's what I think. Like when I saw it, I was like, the end of the day, to me, I know the history of caricature. I know like what they used to do back in the day, but obviously as a white person, you might not necessarily know that. So I don't think that Bernardo Silva did it thinking, "Oh yeah, you know," because he didn't know the history behind it, otherwise he wouldn't have done it. I don't think.
Of course.
But obviously now he has posted it. He needs to be educated. You can't just say, "Oh, it's a joke." You know, it needs to be, and that's my thing. Like I said, I think he should have been fined, and I think he should have had to do some training, which I think is what happened to him. But that's what we need. You know, there's no point in abusing him online. I was never going to do that because I don't think he's racist. But what he did was racist. So,
and what you said there, he's not racist. So what we need to remember, certain people from certain households, certain communities, it's casual language to them. It's casual to do that. So they haven't been told it's wrong or derogative. So you don't learn. It's like, for example, I say to people, if you want to learn Spanish, and you want to learn French or a language, and you go to the person, so a Spanish teacher will teach you Spanish. If you pronounce something wrong, they correct you.
Yeah.
So you learn not to say it again.
Yeah.
It's the same energy with racism or racism language, isn't it? You get corrected. And what we should do, and like I've told you what I do up in Scotland, what we should do is that we need to encourage people to learn, learn better, because, we learn every day. And when you learn, you know more, you know what to do and know what not to do. And then if you carry on being acting in a negative way, then we can obviously identify you as a racist or a bad person, because you already know. And you're right. You've got to give people the benefit of the doubt in some circumstances. And who I don't give the benefit of the doubt is the media.
Yeah.
The media, how they portray non-English players. And especially some black players. I tweeted yesterday saying that I think it's sad that Mason Greenwood is going to be the new Raheem Sterling. What's your thoughts on that?
I've been saying that for a while. I think Sky Sports News, their Twitter feed at the moment, it looks like if you posted what they post and told anyone that's the Sun, they'd be like, see, boycott the Sun, buy a coffee. Like, I think they're just as bad. I think you can see it. It's the early stages of Raheem Sterling. What they're trying to do at the moment is make out like he's not a committed footballer. He's not good in training. I think they posted a story from a few years ago where he was taking balloons. A lot of young people do balloons. Like, I'm not saying it's right. I don't think footballers should be doing any sort of drug personally, but he did it. A lot of footballers do, and they're bringing back articles to paint him as a bad character. And then what happens is people, we're lucky to have a lot of social media. We know that it's, just propaganda from the papers and whatever, but people that don't have access to that will paint him in a certain light. And it happened with Raheem Sterling. Raheem Sterling was greedy, this, that, and the
other.
Yeah. It's hard now for him to he's basically had to come out against the media to protect and save his reputation. And now 100%. He's seen completely differently. Do you know what I mean? But it's just like they've started already. We can see where it's going. And I think it's up to us as the general public to shut it down before it starts, because
100%. And the general public.
Yeah, I do think Man United need to protect him as well. They need to be coming out and saying, no, he's fine. He's good in training. He's this, he's that, because I think the media are always going to run with anything they can.
Do you think him not playing adds to the fuel?
Yeah, I think, because with United, obviously, when he's not playing all the time, they're going to use that, but they're going to use that as,
yeah. I thought you were going to say something bad, how crap my club was.
No, I was going to say that obviously if they post an article to say, he's terrible in training, and then Man United don't start him, it almost kind of confirms what they've said. So I think Man United really do need to, make sure that they're not adding to it. Fair enough, they don't have to come out, because they probably won't, and say, he's a great player, but please don't add to what they're saying. Do you know what I mean? And in terms of like England, obviously what happened with him and Foden, that's fair enough, but Foden's back in the squad. So
well.
In itself. Yeah.
I'm glad you said that, because I wasn't really going to touch on it, to be honest. So I didn't really want to give it any light of day, but it's something that we need to obviously say, because why all of a sudden? Because if we're going to label, let's keep the same energy, okay? He had a kid, he has a partner, family man, etc., etc., etc. What he does in his personal business is his own business. I don't know him. He's probably a nice guy. However, Mason Greenwood has been targeted in the newspaper ever since that incident. Mason Greenwood has unfortunately lost a friend to mental health. Due to suicide. They don't cover that. They don't cover that. They don't. Maybe the reason why he's not playing is because he's lost a friend.
Yeah.
He's grieving. He's mourning. And what I've always said that, and I'm very strong about it. When they see a black man, an English black man, about to become successful or being successful, is that they want to shut it down. They want to paint this picture. It's like what I was saying to you before, how they describe black players, monsters, strong, blah, blah. They use the same casual language to say he's a troublemaker. He's greedy. He's a virus. Do you know? So these kind of words that paint pictures in the readers' heads. And if you're not from our community, or even if you are from our community, actually, you might start thinking, oh, I don't know about that Mason Greenwood. What do you mean? None of us know him. Do you actually play Xbox with him? Do you go around this house and sit with him? This is what I think people need to realize, and I think people in our age group and our generation realize that, this has happened before with other players, and it's gonna happen, unfortunately, in the future. And it only stops with the individual if the individual comes out. But we need to remember, he's a kid.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm trying to say to you? He's a kid, and it's not his fault that he plays for Man United. Yeah. It's not his fault that he's successful. He's talented. And I will say, I heard Flawless say this. Yeah. If he wasn't talented or very good and didn't play for Man United, they wouldn't talk about him.
No.
So they're trying to really, let's be honest, they're trying to sell papers, aren't they? That's it. And they're trying to create this narrative. And it's so interesting, isn't it? Because last season, you couldn't get him out of the back pages. It was, Mason scores, the youngest Manchester United to hit double figures, and so on and so on and so on. All of a sudden, okay, he has an incident with England. Look, it is what it is, You could say boys will be boys, but do you know what? On this part, I'm not going to say that because do you know what? At the end of the day, you are a part of a squad on international duty. You have a duty of care to yourself, never mind everyone else, to literally recover, and he obviously done what he'd done. We need to remember what he actually done. He didn't beat anyone up. He didn't crash a car. He didn't go to jail. He didn't bribe anyone. Okay. Yeah. He had female company. Okay. Yeah. And there was no other story than that. Yeah. Now, we need to ask ourselves, how did they get into this hotel? Because are you trying to tell me a whole England squad don't have security? Yeah. Yeah. So we won't dwell on that. We won't dwell on that. But that's all I'm going to leave that. And just like my final question to you is how do we eradicate stuff like this?
I think it kind of starts from, I know it sounds a bit wild to say this, but I think just shutting it down as early as possible. You know what I mean? Like, even with like Sky Sports now, like clicking on the article, that's what they want. So they want you to click on it. Things like that, it provides them with income, it gives them what they want, which is for people to be outraged so that they talk about it. So I think kind of like backing the players, like I don't like Man United at all. I don't particularly know Mason Greenwood. Like, he's not anyone that I care about.
Why don't you like Manchester United again?
But I think just even like as a City fan, like, I will still protect him because it's like, this is bigger than him, this issue. Yeah. I mean, it's not about him individually, and I think we just need to kind of, people say buy a coffee. Like, I haven't bought a newspaper for the longest amount of time, and 100%. I don't subscribe to any of their rubbish. Do you know what I mean? And I just think, like, by doing that, they'll lose interest in general, and then hopefully they'll realize, because I love what Raheem did. Raheem came out and he kind of drew attention to it, because before that, like, obviously we knew, I studied at a uni and I had to work out, like, at the time it was like Wayne Rooney versus Yaya Toure, comparisons and stuff. Sterling wasn't really about at the time, but I think he's drawn attention to it. So now a lot of people that aren't black, are kind of realizing, oh yeah, like, they shouldn't be saying that, or how come they're targeting him more than him? Like, so I think it's kind of just drawing attention to it, awareness, that sort of thing will make people say, actually, no, that's not all right. And what I am quite happy to see is obviously my Twitter is full of a lot of City fans. A lot of them tend to be kind of white, middle-aged men. And a lot of them are kind of commenting, saying, oh, here we go again with Greenwood, you know, it's going to be Raheem again. So even they've realised, you know, this is not on, you know.
And you know what? That's changed. That's changed. Because now the older generation are seeing it. And that makes me so happy that you said that, because it means that they're already aware of, here we go again, you know. It's boring, you know what I mean? It's actually, in my opinion, very poor journalism, because it's like, do you have nothing else to report or talk about? Like, if we're going to talk about the players, right, let's talk about what they do, the charity work. Let's talk about their let's talk about their achievements of what they're doing. You know, if you want to talk about comparison reasons, let's talk about 100 years ago. This probably wouldn't have happened. You know, you know, create better attention for your newspapers. Create better vibes. You know, because like you said, you know, I mean, I say all the time, we're all one human race. You know, we're all human beings before anything, and if you keep targeting the same category of people, the racist word and the discrimination word is going to keep highly being used, because you keep going for the same target, same kind of people. Now, I'm just going to wrap it up here, because I'm very, very, like, I know me and you could talk here for hours and stuff, and I'm very grateful for you doing this with me, because, you know, let's try and, you know, let's swing it towards the Man City, Man United, okay? Let's try and, you know, have a bit of banter here. So, Man City, Man United, right? Safe to say my team's crap right now, but it's fine, because we're still going to come top 4, I hope. What do you think? What's going on with Pep? What's happening with Man City? What do you think you guys are going to do this season?
To be honest, like, it's interesting, because I've said it a few times now. Like, I think it's a bit, I think fans in general are a bit reactionary, and that's City fans and other fans. And I've seen City fans saying, oh, we're never going to win the league this year. And I just think, like, with City in particular, I don't think you can rule us out until it's mathematically impossible.
100%.
Like,
I agree with you on that.
times that I've ever really ruled City out was obviously last season, very early days, we were losing. Liverpool didn't lose till this year. Do you know what I mean? So I think that's not the case this year. Liverpool have lost. Everyone's lost.
Yeah.
No one's lost less than us. We've lost 1. No one's lost less. So, you know, I don't think you can rule us out yet. You know, the only difference between this season and the past couple of seasons is we've actually drawn a few, which is rare for City. We tend to lose. So, so I think that's gonna. I just think it's so unpredictable so far. I just can't tell you where anyone's going to finish. And if you look at the table now, that's not going to be what it's like probably by Christmas. Do you know what I mean? So I think, obviously, you're bottom half of the table. You're not going to finish bottom half. I hope you do, but you won't. Your squad's too good to finish there. City, again, you know, Liverpool, people saying, oh, Liverpool will win it. Liverpool will win it. And now they've got injuries. People saying, oh, I'm not so sure. I still think they'll be up there. I don't think they're going to slide all the way down. But I don't know whether they'll win it, because last season, we lost Laporte. And our defence, after Laporte went injured, was just basically a shambles. And I think Liverpool's defence have actually managed to do okay without Van Dijk so far. But I think over a season, I don't know whether they can maintain.
I agree with you on that. I agree with you on that. I'm not even going to talk about my club because it's depressing right now. So we'll leave it out. But listen, Jan, plug your socials. Let people know where they can find you.
Yeah, my Twitter is below at Yannicka with 3 A's. I'm also on YouTube. Not got much on there. But it's Yan City ENT. And I also host a show on Saturday mornings called Gyaldem City, which is on the Sarcasm City podcast.
Make sure you go and subscribe, guys. And obviously, so what? It's your boy, BitznBobz. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. Thank you to everyone that watched. Yan, thank you so much for coming on. Seriously. I'm real happy you done that. Seriously. And hopefully, we can create awareness together.
Yeah.